Hi you guys, so today in keeping with the SNAP benefit rejection, we're going to make something from nothing because you can do it, you can make it, you can do it. This is a gallon of milk, well almost a gallon, part of it went to another project. This expired October 25th, that was 10 days ago. Still smells good, I mean I totally drank it, but what we're going to do is make cheese. Cheese. This is a white cheese. It'll be like a Paneer or a queso blanco that you could get at the grocery store. But we're going to use this milk that's close to turning, maybe even started turning. It doesn't matter, and make cheese out of it. All you need is the milk and an acid. I'm using white vinegar. You could use other things, and I've linked everything down below in the description on how you could make that happen for you if you don't have vinegar. But if we've got milk and vinegar, we can make cheese. So yeah, let's get to it. Put the milk into a hard or a solid bottom pot. Get the flame going under there. And then we're going to get it up to around 170. I've heard 170, 180, 190. 170 works for me. The whole point of this is just to make sure that the milk is clean. We're pasteurizing it. This milk has already been pasteurized. It's homogenized, which isn't great, but it's okay for a soft cheese. Raw milk would be the best, and this step would then make sure that there's no bugs in your raw milk. But we are using what we have, right? So this is almost a gallon of milk, about 3.8 liters roughly, and we're going to bring it up to that point. Now, I'm using a thermometer. The interesting thing about this thermometer is I've just realized it's broken. See how I can go from 150 to 50 just by turning this. Yeah, so this isn't working very great. I'm going to try to figure out how to fix that, but this thermometer ain't working. So we're going to do it just by looking at the milk. And it's going to be really easy to tell how close we are to where we want to be. That 170, 180 it's going to be little tiny bubbles on the side, and the top is going to start to kind of get that film on top of it, but I'll show you what that's like. So we're going to bring this up to that state slowly. Make sure your milk isn't more than like medium. I got some fancy new spatulas because I was tired of cleaning the other ones. Every once in a while, and more often than not, come through, give it a little stir, because scalded milk and burnt milk will ruin the whole batch, my friend. So anyway, I'm going to let this rise in temperature, and I'll let you know how long it takes. I'll come back in a sec. And while that's coming to temperature, I'm going to show you that I've got a bunch of videos in here on other ways to make cheese, or other cheeses you can make. So we're making the farmer's cheese today, and you can make one, you can further step this and make it into something similar like cream cheese, mozzarella, ricotta, and then I've got a mozzarella easy and a mozzarella more difficult, and then a homemade ricotta from the whey. That's that kind of liquidy, yellow liquidy material that separates from the cheese itself. So save that, and we can make ricotta from it. Maybe we will make ricotta from it, and then have some fun with that. So that's the cheeses that we've got, and that's what we're going to be making. But today we're sticking to the farmer's cheese, queso blanco, or Paneer. All right, you guys, I think we're at that point. Can you see the tiny little bubbles in the wine all around here, and then a few here? I've just got this regular old thermometer. I'm just going to double check my work, but I'm sure, excuse me, we're between 170 and 180. I hope it's not too much hotter. All right, so we're right at 179.8. 179.9. So we're right where we need to be. I just turned this off, and now let's get our vinegar. Okay, so this will probably curdle pretty darn quickly. I've switched to the spoon, if you can tell, because when I want to be able to pull the cheese out later pretty easily. So we're just going to pour a little at a time. And remember, I don't have quite a gallon. I don't have quite 4 liters, so I went a little shy on the half cup of vinegar. So half cup per gallon of milk. Stir it for a minute. See it live in action. Oh, it's starting to curdle. I can see it right now. See how that's changing? It looks like cottage cheese. We could make cottage cheese if you want. Totally starting to separate here. And I'm just going to keep kind of stirring this until it's fully separated. Remember, if you don't have vinegar, ooh, look at that. Beautiful. All that kind of greeny yellow stuff is whey, so we're going to save that whey. But if you don't have vinegar, you can use lemon juice. You could also use citric acid, but most of us have white vinegar around. So look at that. All right, that looks pretty darn good to me. So now what do? I'm going to let that sit and be happy, and we're going to come over here to my strainer. All right, so what I have here is kind of a put together setup. This is a frame for this. This is a chinois, just an old strainer. It's also called the China hat. And I've got it just over a bowl. And so I'm going to line this with this. I used to use cheesecloth, but I discovered that cheesecloth is inferior. I don't like it. This is a nut milk bag. You know when you make like almond milk or oat milk, that's the kind of bag you pour it in. What it is linen. It's just some kind of linen. So if you don't have a fancy setup like that, you could use your regular old colander or this kind of a colander, put it into the same kind of metal bowl, and line it with a cloth. You could use a pillowcase. You could use an old sheet. This is a linen napkin. I buy these at the thrift stores and stuff when I see them. I like them because they're easy to use. I can really see, look, this has holes in it from being used so much in the kitchen. And it strains beautifully. So if you don't have this kind of fancy setup, fear not. You can make it work. All right, so let's get that cheese over here. All right, so what I've got here is the cheese and stuff on a trivet so it doesn't burn my counter, and I'm just going to plop it in here. And you can see already it's starting to strain down there. So I'm just going to do this and keep going until this is empty. So I've strained most of the liquid through here, and I'm just catching the last bits, but all this whey I want to save, so I'm going to pour it into this. This is a half gallon, so I'm going to need a couple of these probably. It's a funny color, isn't it? I'm going to need another small one. I have this left over from making yogurt, so I'm going, and it's the whey, so I'm going to let this get a little warmer, room temperature, and I'll add this and the other bit that's straining into the pot. So right now, you can eat the cheese. It's kind of a nice little funky texture, and it is a little chewy, a little bouncy. Unfortunately, it still has a bunch of whey in here. So what we're going to do is keep straining this to get all the way out we can. And I could squeeze on it, really reef on the bag, but I prefer to let gravity help me out. So I'm going to just close this bag up a little bit and put a heavy weight on top of it. I could string it up, I could hang it if I didn't have anything that would fit into here, but I've got this big measuring cup, and then I'm just going to put a bunch of water in here. And then we're just going to let this kind of strain for about an hour. Then what we're going to do is take the cheese out of the bag, put it into probably this bowl right down here without the whey in it, and add some salt. Salt acts as a preservative, but also some things need salt. Cheese needs salt. And then we could eat it right away, or we could press it into some kind of a mold. So I'll think about what I want to do with that, and we'll just let this be happy for an hour. Hi guys. So today we're going to do another one of these videos about, all right, so it's been a good hour, and let's look at our cheese. I'm just going to give the bag a little squeeze. Yeah, it always still has some whey in there. But the more whey we get out, the longer this cheese is going to last. Of course, you could just eat it all up right now and not worry about that. If you added some more whey back in, or even better, milk back in, you could have a cottage cheese right now. But what we're going to do is take this and dump the cheese into this bowl down there and add in some salt. Okay. So the easiest way to do this is obviously just turn this bag inside out and drop into the middle of the bowl. Out, whatever that was. There's going to be pieces kind of hanging on, and because we work so hard to get this, I'm going to kind of pick it off. I'll do that off camera so you don't have to watch all this. All right. This I'll rinse out and just throw it into the washing machine. Because it's made to be reused, it can be reused over and over again. Again, it's a nut milk bag from Amazon. Pretty cheap. Actually came in a 2-pack, I think. All right. There you go. So this is what we're left with. Oh, let's weigh this. All right, so we're going to do an approximate weight here. So it says 11.5 ounces, so let's say 12 ounces. You could probably get 14 if I had a full gallon of milk. So just shy of a pound, so around half a kilogram. Most of that was whey, obviously. So now we're going to go ahead and add in up to a tablespoon of salt. And I'm using kosher salt. You can use table salt or whatever kind of salt you want, sea salt. So I'm just going to put that, drop that in there like that, and just start cutting. So see how dry it is? The neat thing about this is that you can mold it into shapes. So if you wanted to, you could make it into a bunch of balls or something like that. It's not stretchy like mozzarella, though, and it's squeaky. It's really, well, you've had farmer's cheese before, I think, probably somewhere. It's much more like a queso blanco, I think, personally, I think. But anyway, what can you do with it? You can put it on salads. You could make it into a dip for crackers. You could add some spices right now, like and herbs. You could add rosemary or thyme or anything like that. And if you wanted to make it even saltier, add some more salt, you could put it on pasta and it will kind of melt. It'll get melty, but it doesn't fall apart. So anyway, that's it. That's your cheese. And now I'm just going to put it into a container and put a lid on it. And we just saved milk that was going bad. Got that. I've got all that whey. Pretty good day. So let me know if you have any questions. The whole recipe is linked, or is typed out for you down below. So just copy and paste it into a document for yourself. And there you have it. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and see you later.